The Untold chapter. Shadows on the fairway. In the golden haze of a late summer afternoon, the PGA Tour circuit hummed with its usual rhythm. Drivers slicing through the air like whispered secrets, crowds murmuring in anticipation of glory. Jake Knapp, the 31-year-old phenom from California, had just wrapped a practice round at the Cognizant Classic, his swing as precise as ever, a 59 etched in his memory from earlier that year. But off the course, in the quiet corners of hotel suites and stolen weekends, life wove a more fragile thread. That's where Makena White entered the story, not as a spectator, but as the heartbeat behind the champion. Makena, 28, with her Ottawa roots and McMaster degree clutched like a talisman, had traded surgical sales reps for the nomadic thrill of tournament trails. They met in August 2023, a chance collision at a charity event where her laugh cut through the polite chatter like a bird breaking free. By February 2024, after Jake's Mexico Open triumph, she was there on the green, trophy in hand, her caption sealing it. "My sweet boy chasing dreams. 2 years of nap time." Playful posts of dog walks with Nelly and Fergie, her rediscovered golf swing, and those late-night talks about her mom's battle with dementia in 2022. Makena had poured her heart into the Brew Your Brain Health and Memory Clinic, a quiet vow to fight the fog that stole memories. And then there was the tachycardia, that relentless flutter in her chest she joked about in a story highlight. Heart racing faster than Jake's birdies. Doctors called it supraventricular tachycardia. Episodes that came like summer storms, racing pulse, dizziness, a world tilting just enough to remind her she wasn't invincible. It started subtly, woven into the narrative like a subplot no one saw coming. After the Irish Open in July 2025, Makena felt the first real warning. A jog along the Florida coast, the sun dipping low, when her heart betrayed her. Palpitations hit hard, forcing her to her knees in the sand. Jake was there, steady as his putt, rushing her to the ER. Ablation was discussed, a zap to the rogue circuits, but tours waited for no one. She brushed it off in her next post. "Just my heart saying hi to the adrenaline." But the episodes lingered, shadows lengthening as Ryder Cup fever built. Jake missed the cut, frustration etching lines on his face, while Makena cheered from the sidelines, her energy a forced spark. The night before the announcement, in a rented condo overlooking the course, the storm broke fully. It was September 23, 2025, a Tuesday etched in eternity. Dinner was simple. Takeout sushi, laughter over Jake's botched chip shots, plans for a post-Ryder escape to Ottawa. Makena felt it building mid-bite, that familiar thunder in her veins. "It's nothing," she said, waving off his worry, but her hand trembled on the glass. She stepped out to the balcony for air, the Gulf breeze carrying salt and promise. Jake followed, phone in hand, dialing 911 as her breath hitched, words dissolving into gasps. The paramedics arrived in a blur of lights and urgency. SVT had escalated, her heart fibrillating into atrial fibrillation, a chaotic rhythm no beta blocker could tame. En route to the hospital, the monitor flatlined, ventricular fibrillation, the cruel twist where beats become betrayal. Defibrillator shocks, epinephrine rushes, the team's frantic dance against time. But the damage cascaded. A stroke from the embolus that broke free, oxygen-starved brain tissue swelling in silent rebellion. By dawn, in the sterile hush of the ICU, monitors wailed their final note. Makena White, the light that never met a stranger, slipped away at 3:47 a.m., her hand still warm in Jake's. The golf world awoke to silence on September 26, as Ryder Cup flags snapped in the wind. Her friend posted the truth veiled in love. No cause named, only a call to honor her with brain health donations, echoing her mom's fight. And perhaps the hidden one Makena carried. Jake's statement came later, raw and restrained. "A thoughtful person whose selflessness I'll always appreciate. It's a tough reality." Whispers swirled. Suicide rumors on Reddit, breakup myths. But those were ghosts, not the plot. The real story was the tachycardia's quiet siege. A condition she'd shared in vulnerability, turning triumphant love into tragedy. In the days that followed, Jake walked the fairways like a man haunted, club in hand but eyes distant. Tributes poured in. Amanda Balionis on the laughter, Rory McIlroy on the light lost. Nelly and Fergie curled at his feet, unwitting chapters in grief. And somewhere, in the ether of what-ifs, Makena's voice lingered. Endless joy, a sprinkle of chaos. Her death wasn't a villain's strike, but a body's betrayal. A reminder that even champion stories end in unfinished rounds. Rest in peace, Makena. The tour goes on, but the heart? It skips a beat forever. Jake Knapp was a man obsessed with time. Not in a frantic, clock-watching way, but in a deep, almost philosophical belief that time was the most precious resource we waste. He spent his days at Google, and later at GV Google Ventures, in a silent battle against the modern workplace's greatest enemies. Endless meetings, distracting notifications, and the slow, creeping paralysis of decision-making. He saw brilliant teams with world-changing ideas get bogged down in debates that stretched for months. Prototypes never got built. Problems never got solved. It was like watching a sports car stuck in mud. Its wheels spinning but going nowhere. This frustration brewed inside him, a quiet storm. He started experimenting. What if you took a big, scary problem, locked a dedicated team in a room for 5 days, and followed a strict step-by-step recipe to go from problem to tested solution? He called it a design sprint. It was radical. It was intense. And to his delight it worked. The process was a turbocharger for innovation. But for all his mastery over the clock in a professional setting, Jake's personal time felt unoptimized. He was successful, passionate, but something, or rather someone was missing. He hadn't found the partner for the ultimate sprint. Life. Then came an evening that would change everything. It wasn't in a boardroom or a tech campus. It was at a simple party among friends. The room was buzzing with conversation, but the moment she walked in, everything else seemed to slow down, to mute. Her name was Jenny. It wasn't a dramatic, movie-style crash. It was quieter, more profound. He saw her laughing with a friend, and something just clicked. Jake, the master of process and structure, experienced a moment of pure, unscripted intuition. This was it. This was the person that he didn't have a 5-day plan for this. There was no how to fall in love sprint. This was a leap of faith. He introduced himself, and they talked. And talked. He discovered that Jenny was sharp, kind, and grounded. A world away from the high-octane tech bubble he lived in. She was an anchor. A real person who saw the man behind the method. Their relationship was the antithesis of a design sprint. It wasn't about rushing. It was about savoring. The slow, meandering conversations. The quiet mornings. The shared jokes that became their own private language. Jenny brought a balance to his life that he never knew he needed. She was the human touch to his machine-like efficiency. With Jenny by his side, Jake found a new kind of confidence. He decided to take his design sprint process to the world. He teamed up with John Zaratsky and Braden Cowitz to write a book. Late nights were spent writing and refining, but now he had Jenny to bring him a cup of tea, to pull him away from the screen for a walk, to remind him that the best ideas sometimes come when you're not forcing them. In 2016, Sprint. How to Solve Big Problems and Test New Ideas in Just 5 Days was published. It became an instant sensation, a Bible for entrepreneurs, designers, and leaders worldwide. Jake was suddenly a globe-trotting author, teaching the sprint methodology to companies everywhere. But his greatest success wasn't on any bestseller list. It was waiting for him at home. He had used his own principles to design a life he loved, and at the center of that design was Jenny. The man who had mastered the work sprint had found his forever pace in love. They built a life together in San Francisco, and soon, their family grew with 2 sons. The sprint master was now a dad, learning a whole new definition of rapid prototyping, with diapers and baby food. Jake Knapp's story is a testament to the power of a great process. But it's also a reminder that the most important things in life, love, connection, family, can't be scheduled or sprinted. Sometimes the best strategy is simply to look up from the blueprint and be ready for the moment when love enters at first sight.